Okay, how are we going? Everyone who knows me will know that this is probably not my thing. I'm usually in the background and like to show nice shiny parts rather than myself. Anyway, I just got a call from Ron and he sent me a few pictures through, and they've really inspired me, and actually brought a tear to my eye to see what was my first car travel along a journey and end up back at Ron Lummus Racing. If I think back, it was probably in the early 90s that Ron would have been running Pro Turbo at the time, and fortunately for me, Ron took me under his wing, and the journey started, and we built the first turbo motor for a street car. I think it made like 300 horsepower at the wheels at the time, and I had a ball with that. And then eventually I ended up buying a flat pack tube chassis from him, and we built the car with a lot of friends and a lot of limited knowledge at the time, but Ron was always there. He was always there to answer my questions. He was always there to help out. It's probably, being a business owner now and being in the industry, I was probably the most annoying customer he bloody ever had, but he stood by me, and he was always there. So it was a long journey. I think a lot of people knew me from building that car, and I got into the industry from that car, made a lot of friends that I've still got today from that car. A lot of people know me from that car, but it came time for me to move that on, and I was just mentioned to Ron that I was going to sell it, and we made an agreement that the car needed to stay in the family. So that's where it is now, and can't be happier. My dream was always to either have Ron race the car in Australia or send the car over to the US. But yeah, now it's in his shop, and a whole bunch of his crew are getting it together, making the appropriate changes to get it back out there to be competitive in the sport again today. And the car's been over there for probably over 12 months now, and just to see everyone get stuck into it, and just a few of the people that used to work at RLR when I used to answer the phone when I used to ring and annoy them, you know who that is, Chad. So it was a long journey. It was a big part of my life. It was hard to sell it, but I cried when it got packed into the container and I saw it for the last time. But I knew that one day I'd get to see the car go down the track, and that probably wasn't going to happen when it was in my hand still.
Brackets on, but I wanted to spend a few seconds for the folks who were wondering why we did this car the way we did this car. Look, my buddy Trent from Australia is the owner of this car. I sent everything down to him in the early 2000s. COVID happened, he lost his 3 restaurants. The story is somewhat accurate. He can do the fact checking for me, but the bottom line is this car got to make 1 burnout and 1 attempted pass, and it never went farther than that. And it sat up on his mezzanine, and he was just bummed out. He wanted to see the car run. He calls me one day, he says, Ronnie, calls me Ronnie. I said, yeah, what's up, Trent? He goes, hey mate, I want you to have my car. And I'm like, Trent, what do you mean? You want me to have your car? Yeah, I want you to have my car. So long story short is, him and I worked out a deal. Yes, it was a pretty good deal, but I got the car up here. And the deal is to try to keep as much of the old car as I can, because that was his car. And I wasn't ready for this. I didn't want to jump back in and do this thing, or else I would have built the car from scratch. But look, time is short, and I want to get this car on the track. So rebuilding was better than starting from scratch. And it's his car, and I want to do him proud. So, but the car was only made to go from 990 to 850. Well, it's going to go a tad bit faster than that. So I had to SFI upgrade the car. So between my NHRA guys telling me what I needed to do and upgrade, so we did a full SFI upgrade on the floor, on the funny car cage. The suspension was the old ladder bar suspension with a swing axle. I had to upgrade that. Mario did the motor, he upgraded that. Foltz did the transmission, he upgraded the faceplates. It had Motec on it. It's all fine and good, but I don't want to be the only guy at the track with Motec, so I upgraded to Fuel Tech. So as you can see, it's evolving, and I want to do it right. I got one shot at this to you know, get out there and have some fun and mix it up. Part of the thing we're going to do is upgrading to my rear suspension, which is right here, which some of you have seen. This is my IRS box trailing arms. And yeah, okay, they're big, they're kind of heavy, but to be honest with you, keeping the suspension flat and the wheel travel connected to the car is the only way to really do it, in my opinion. There's other people that do other things, other suspensions, but this is my idea of how we need to get it done. And there's quite a few guys out there running this setup currently. Anyways, power is not the problem. It's getting the power down to the ground. A lot of people can make power today, but trying to make it talk to the car and get the car hooked up and get it down the track, that's what all the data is for. That's what all the technology is for. Basically, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get all the hardware done while everybody's here, and then all the wiring can be pre-terminated, and then shortly thereafter, after everybody splits, I can go back and start connecting the dots and putting everything together. The long block's done, the trans is done, the wiring will be done, the chassis will be fully upgraded. I have other things to do, but sometime in July, I'm looking about getting this thing to the racetrack and getting it tested. And then hopefully I can make it to Texas in middle September for Texas versus the World. Anyways, that was a mouthful, longer than I expected, but you know what? Now's the time, and we're gonna have fun, and we're gonna make this happen. So stay tuned, like us. You go to Facebook, Instagram, our YouTube channel, and just hit us up. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and then we'll keep these videos coming. Hopefully keep you entertained. If you have questions, put them in the comment section, and we'll try to get you dialed. The answer to the question today, why did I do it the way that I did it? I hope that answered the question for most of you guys. Yeah, I could have built a car from scratch, sure. I've done it before, but not with the time that I had and not with the resources that I had. And we really need to do this for my friend Trent, and it's kind of a group effort. Anyways, yeah, peace.
Working up kind of the pre-wire, what I can do off the car of the panel we mounted yesterday. This panel has the relay holders for various functions. You got ignition switch, which controls a lot of power to different places, injectors, coils, dual power relay, that's a Fuel Tech product that drives the charge valve or e-gate that TurboSmart makes. And we're gonna have an intercooler and then a spare just in case I forget anything. I got some lugs here for battery power from the master cutoff. Battery ground straight to the battery. We got chassis grounds and just have another little terminator stud and some terminal blocks. And trying to do as much on this as I can, get it before we put it on the car. It just makes life a little easier so I'm not climbing in and out of the car. So, you know where we're at right now.
Well, my name's Rick Dailey. I'm Chad's dad. I'm here just to kind of help keep things organized, and we got all the fabrication work done yesterday on the chassis, so now it's a matter of running the wires, what to plug in after we get out of here. We came up from Texas, so we're only here for the week, and then we'll be leaving on Saturday.
Yo baby, yo baby, yo. Hey guys, our coilover shocks arrived. We have good news and bad news. The good news is they're the Ultra Pro shocks that Strange is now making. We wanted to give those a try, so we asked Dimitri over there if he thought our car would benefit. They have 24 adjustments, compression, and 24 rebound with the valving we really like. And they're actually an air-charged shock, which sounds kind of backwards to what we're doing, but he promised me that the control that I would have would be great. However, when I opened up the box and I ordered the springs, which these are 650s, it looks like they'll fit, but the problem is you can't get the retainer on and off. So I've actually got to order 6-inch long springs to go on here. You can see, so make them fit. So anyways, hopefully those will show up before the end of the week. I'd like to get this on the wheels to show everybody what it looks like when it's rolling. Not that it will be done, but it will be rolling so you can kind of get perspective. So that's what we're shooting for. Anyways, Strange Ultra Pro shocks. We're going to try these out on our car, and if they work good, which I think they will, the application will be really translatable to all you guys out there. So anyways, Strange Engineering, we missed it by a little bit, but we're going to hit it out of the park once we get the 6-inch spring. So peace.
I was making a couple of what I would call setup bars for the shock. Basically a mock-up bar that represents the mounting points, you know, center to center mounting points. That way we can put those back on the shelf, keep them nice. So just setting up some of the bars, and Ron's going to start making the shock mounts here pretty soon.
All right, day 2, folks, was not like day 1 because in doing stuff like this, you have obstacles, things that you need to get around, go around, and y'all know what I'm talking about when stuff doesn't exactly go like your plans. You better lay plans of mice and men, right? Either way, it did turn out on the upside. We are mounting the shocks. So again, I think we're closer to our goal. By the end of the week, we should be able to have this thing on some wheels so we can get a look at it, and then maybe do close out on episode 1. If that's the way we're going to do it, and then maybe focus on episode 2. We'll see. That's up to the editor, guys. I just had to put my hat on. I know that I told him I had to put my hat on, but it's like, you know, when we're doing this thing, I got to have my hat on so I can not have a bad hair day. So anyways, you guys be good. Peace.
I guess the next thing for me is I just want to say thanks to Ron. He didn't need this car. He didn't need to buy this car. He didn't need to do what he's doing. But there's a reason, and the reason is I think it was seriously through me sharing my story with him, and me sharing my passion, and sharing a little bit back of what he gave me. I'm now running a successful business in the motor industry, not in air-cooled, but it's still in Volkswagens and Audis and Euros, and I'm grateful for that. So I hope that this inspires others to, you know, have a think about some of the decisions that they make. You know, seeing Ron and that whole crew together, seeing them out there doing what they're doing. It's not about racing the car at the moment for me. That's going to come. It's about seeing the passion and the enjoyment that this group of people, you know, have this common hobby, common knowledge, and this friendship and this relationship building that's made them all stick together and help each other out. And, you know, that's what the community is about. Racing will come, and I'm excited for that. I'll definitely head over when the car starts to race, and it's at a time when they're happy for me to join. I'll come across and I'll get to see my car run down the track and do what it was meant to do, and my dream to see Ron drive it. So thanks again, Ron. I can't thank you enough. Everyone that's jumped on board to help him, you know who you are. You're doing a great job. I can't believe how quickly the car's been turned around. And I'm looking forward to the journey. This is just the beginning. Thanks again, guys.